Hi, love. Hope you are doing great. Our topic is still on the word of sewing, which we are focusing on the measuring and sewing tools. Measuring tools in sewing are so important for the perfect fit and shape of any garment. Why not sit back and enjoy the class? What are measuring tools? Measuring tools are those pieces of equipment which help to make measurements of body and of clothes. They are different to used for clothing construction. Why are measuring tools important? Measuring tools in sewing are very important for the perfect fit and shape of any garments and even home furniture. Even as a beginner, you will need to measure seam allowance, aim, and other markings. Some instruction of pattern on projects might only give you the measurement for a rectangular pieces, so you will need to be able to measure that out. So we can see that measuring tools are very important in sewing. Measuring tools in a garment construction. You know that accurate measurement is when sewing are crucially important to the success of a project. So, how do you mention these items? Using the right sewing measuring tools. Of course, the list of measuring tools in sewing isn't too long, but you don't need all these tools in your sewing kits right away. So, I have broken into the beginner's tools to make it easier for you to set up your sewing kits. So, what are these measuring tools and how do they help? Now, let's look at the types of measuring tools in sewing. We have different types of measuring tools, and I'm going to make mention just 10 common measuring tools. We have tape measuring, meter and yard rule, ruler, tailor chalk, scissors, needle, pin, seamling, thread of different colors, pin cushion, needlework box, pencil and paper. Types of measuring tools. We are kicking it off with measuring tapes. Measuring tape is a flexible measuring device. It's the most common and useful measuring tools for sewing. This is used to take the measurements both of clothes and of body. It is usually made of a rubber as it is more durable. One side is marked in inches and yards, while the other side is marked in centimeters and meters. Without this measuring tape, we won't get nowhere fast when it comes to sewing. Ruler. Ruler is made of a clear plastic and is used for measuring straight lines, seam lines, pattern seams, marking, and marking off small distance and space like a buttonholes and plates. Tailor chalk. Tailor chalk is used to mark clothes during measurement for cutting or sewing. It comes in different colors. Meter and yard rule. Meter and yard rule are also used for measuring clothes. We're still on types of measuring tools. Needle. Needle is used for sewing and a hole, that is the eye, is used to hold the sewing thread. Scissors are used for cutting clothes. Pin. Pin are used in holding pieces of clothes or paper together during clothing construction. Pin cushion is used to store pins or needles, and it should be taken properly care of. Needle box. They are designed with the numbers of division to make it easier to organize the content. That is all your sewing tools. Thread. Thread are used to form the stitch that hold the fabric parts together. They comes in different colors. Timbling is used to protect the fingertips while sewing. Pencil and paper are used for recording measurements. Now it's time to look at the body measurements. What are body measurements? Body measurements are refers to measuring the actual person who will wear a garment. Many body measurements are important to building a balanced, well fitting garments, and it also helps tailor to know the exact amount of material to be used. So this is what we mean by body measurement, which I say is what you take the actual person who will wear a garment, the measurement of that person, and in order to make the material to clothes or to fit perfectly. And it's also it allows the tailor to know the exact amount of material to be used. So the next thing you find is, okay, how do I take a body measurement? How do you take the body measurements? You know that accurate measurement is very important in clothes. So taking body measurements is one of the key to great fits. Just wrap the tape around the area of the body measured, hold it in a place. You should be able to put a finger behind the tape, but not more than that. So you can see that it's very easy to take a body measurement. All you need to do is to wrap the table around that particular area of the body that you want to take the measurement, hold it down, and then you can put your finger behind the tape. So let's find out taking the body measurements. The basic measurements needed to make a simple garment are you're taking looking at the bust, hip, we are looking at the waist, the high hip. That's what we are looking at. Now, what do we mean by the bust? The bust is that you will mention the bust at the fullest part of the body, that is at the fullest part of the chest, mention all around the body. To take the waist, you have to measure the waist where the body bends. It helps to bend side to side to identify exactly where to measure. To take the hip, you need to measure the hips at the fullest parts, usually around the waist. Then the high hip is measured around the fullest parts below the waist. Then the neck to waist. Neck to waist is taken from the bone on the neck to the waist. Now it's time we want to take a skirt length. To measure the skirt length is from the waist to the hem, depending on the desired length of the skirt. That is whether it's a short skirt or a long skirt. Across back is from the points of one underarm to the other at the back. Across chest is taken across the chest over the fullest part of one underarm to the other. The neck is taken around the neck. Then the sleeve length, that one is from the shoulder to the elbow. That is short sleeve. And if you want to take the long sleeve, you take it from the shoulder to the wrist. So that is the long sleeve. So we want to look at the step involved in making a garment. It's like you want to make a just maybe a singlet, you can make an handkerchief, you want to make a boxer. So what are the steps that is involved in making these garments? The first one you need to do is to collect all you need together. That is, get all your materials together. Then the second step is to take the body measurements of that particular things you want to sew. The third one is draft pattern with measurements. You draft your pattern with the measurements that you have taken. Then you now adopt that pattern and add seam allowance to it. When we are talking of seam allowance, it's either that maybe after sewing the clothes can be too tight. So because of the allowance, then you can decide to loosen it a bit and then you sew it back. Then lay the pattern on the clothes and cut out. You lay the pattern on the clothes and make you cut out. Finally, you put together by sewing the pieces. You put them together by what? Sewing the pieces. Material required for making simple garments. What are the things that you needed to make a simple garment? You are going to need your drafting paper, ruler. 3, you need your pencil. The 4, you need tape to measure. 5, you need clothes, that is the material. 6, you need sewing thread. 7, you need fastening like a button or zip. And then the final one, that is the sewing tools, which contain all this scissors, pin, needle, thimble, and tailor chalks. These are the materials that is required for you to watch to make a simple garments. That is all on measuring tools. Now, you know that sewing tools are not only thread and needle, but with so many different sewing supplies. Some sewing tools are essentials, others are fun. Optional material you can get later. Body measurements involve measuring the body width, length, and its parts in a specific area on the body. Accurate body measurements are very important for obtaining best results in pattern drafting. Hence, body measurements should be taken with great care. Till then, bye.